Hey, welcome, and thanks for tuning in. Before we get started with this guided experience, I'd just like to share something brief yet important. Since this channel is relatively new, I don't yet have control of any ad settings. This means that it's likely advertisements can randomly play throughout the middle of the video at any time. This kind of interruption can be unsettling no matter what we're watching or tuning into, but it can be particularly unsettling when we're tuning into any kind of meditative or guided experience. Thankfully, if you're subscribing to the YouTube Premium service, your experience will be ad-free. However, if you're tuning in with a free YouTube account, please see the video's description box for other ways to tune into this episode so that an advertisement doesn't interrupt your experience. The options include a podcast platform and a link to a Google Drive folder where I've stored the recordings for free access, listening, and downloading. After the practice, if you've enjoyed your experience, it would help a great deal if you come back to the YouTube channel to like, comment, or subscribe so that I can hopefully gain control of the ad settings in the near future and eventually disable the mid-roll ads completely. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. Hi, this is going to be a quick one on the self-soothing modality known as havening touch. Havening touch is one of many ways to downregulate our nervous systems to help create more safety within our bodies. And it originated from Doctors Stephen and Ronald Rudin about 15 years ago, and it's gaining a lot of traction, it feels like, for good reason. So we'll start. If you want to join me while you're tuning in, we can explore some havening touch. So one of the first ways is simply what I'm doing now. It's rubbing the palms together at a pace that feels comfortable, with a pressure that feels comfortable. Honestly, it feels pretty gentle to me right now, and it feels really good. So yeah, moving your palms together in whatever way feels good for you. And so why are we doing this? What's this doing to our bodies? Well, our bodies have receptors in them on the skin that can pick up on gentle, soothing touch. And so as we engage in this, our body's picking up on those signals. And some of what these signals are doing is it's decreasing cortisol, the production of cortisol in our bodies. And cortisol is often referred to as the stress hormone. So the more cortisol we have in our bodies, typically the more stressed we are. So this is helping to decrease cortisol. Another thing it's doing is it's helping to increase oxytocin. And oxytocin is one of the many feel-good hormones, so to say. It's the more oxytocin that's present in our system, typically the more loving we feel, the more connected we feel. It's kind of the hormone that produces the warm, fuzzy feelings and the sense of belonging as well. So yeah, this touch is helping to increase oxytocin. And let's go ahead and switch to another way of self-havening. So we start at the shoulders and we just move our palms down our arms, kind of in a self-moving hug. And you can use as much pressure, it feels good. You can kind of like squeeze your arms down if that feels right. Whatever feels good to you. Sometimes as I'm doing this one, as I get to my palms, I just like to rub them together to kind of combine the first form of havening touch and this one. And so yeah, just gently giving ourselves a hug in this way. And so another important thing about havening touch is that it's been shown to downregulate our amygdalas. And our amygdalas are located near our brainstem, and they're a key player in our fight, flight, freeze response. So when our amygdala is more activated, it's generally when we're feeling a sense to run away or to fight. It's when our defenses go up, or it's when we're stuck in freeze. And yeah, so our amygdala is the key player in our nervous system's defense mode, our survival mode. And super important, to have a survival mode, but especially in modern day, it's so easy for our amygdala to be triggered because, fortunately or unfortunately, either or, our amygdala doesn't, it can't discern the difference between real danger and imagined danger. And so if we're if we're worrying about the future, we're having anxious thoughts, our amygdala is getting activated because it's perceiving danger. And so unless we have ways of regulating our nervous system, of noticing when we're dysregulated or regulated, then this can easily lead us to spiral out in stress, especially in the world we live in today. And so this gentle touch helps to downregulate the amygdala, helps to calm it, sends messages to it that we're okay right now. It's safe. You can see for yourself. You can check the surroundings, but I just want to reassure you that we're safe. And so the amygdala receives these messages, and it's even been shown, it's really cool, that over time, say, if we've spent a lot of time of our lives with our amygdala activated, our amygdalas, they do grow in size. They just get strengthened, they get stronger. And when I first heard that, it brought up some despair, for sure, because it's like, oh man, what's the use? Am I going to be stuck in these cycles of stress, of unnecessary stress for the rest of my life? And it brought up worry and anxiety. But then I heard that with neuroplasticity, the amygdala can also shrink in size if we're consistently present with self-regulating ourselves, if there's a consistent sense of safety in our nervous system. And so over the long term, our amygdalas can actually shrink in size too. And that doesn't mean that when we shrink our amygdalas that we're not going to be able to sense danger. No, our amygdalas are smarter than that. Our nervous system is way smarter than that. But it does mean that we widen our window of tolerance for what stresses us out, and what worries us, what makes us super anxious, and so that those things aren't as triggering anymore. We can be with them and we can process them, we can confront them. So yeah, that's a super wonderful thing. I get goosebumps as I talk about it. Super wonderful thing about havening touch and its effect on our amygdalas. So there's one more form of havening touch I want to share here, and that's exploring the face. So you can start with your hands underneath your eyes and just make a circle over your cheeks, under your chin, and you just kind of make that circle as feels good to you. And then you can also mix it up and go on the forehead and go in that same direction towards the chin. And you can focus on this way in whatever way feels comfortable for you. If you want to spend more time on your nose and coming down to your chin, that's great. You can do that as much as you want. If you want to spend more time on your forehead, coming down to your chin, that's great too. Sometimes when I'm coming down from the forehead, as I come near my ears, I like to rub around my ears. That feels really good for me as well. And then my jaw, and as you can probably tell, it's opening up my face and down-regulating my nervous system as I'm recording this. So yeah, and we can explore these practices in whatever way feels good for us. You don't have to do it in a prescripted, predetermined way. So with any of these three forms, with rubbing the palms together, with stroking the arms in a self-moving hug motion, with rubbing the face in whatever way feels good, you can oscillate and shift between those as feels good for you. So you might spend some time with the palms, and then if it's still feeling good, you're like, oh, I want to try something else, and you might go to the face. And then after exploring that for a while, whether it's having an effect or not, you can explore the palms again, or you can go to the arms and stroke. And you can drop it whenever you want to. If it's feeling irritating in some way, which is rare, but it can happen, just if we're doing the same motion for a long time, it can just we can kind of get in a rut, and that's why we have different ways of exploring it. We can switch up to the palms and such. And so, yeah, there's not really a way to do it too much, though. Listen to your body, honor your needs, and yeah, don't push it if it's feeling irritable. Yeah, so let's tune in a little bit. Maybe noticing, have you been yawning as we've been exploring this havening touch? Yawning is a big sign of the nervous system downshifting. Temperature fluctuations can also happen, tingling, maybe the breath feels deeper or easier. Maybe there's more feeling in your body in general. There are many ways that can show up when we start to self-regulate. For example, one way that really shows up for me is sometimes my legs really shake. I've stored a lot of stress in my legs over the years, and so as I've been exploring this practice to start, and even as I've continued with it, sometimes my legs just shake, and I let them shake, and it's okay. Sometimes another common one is salivating a lot when we're down-regulating our nervous systems, so that might be happening. Yeah, I feel like stretching my jaw. That's another common one for me as I explore these practices. So again, many things can show up when we're somatically regulating ourselves. And so just paying attention to that. And that'll also be easier if you explore these practices in the guided meditations that I offer on this channel, or in any guided meditation, mindfulness practice, pretty much. It'll be easier to tune in to what might be happening in the body, most likely. So yeah, thanks for tuning into this one. I hope even just listening to this and exploring this touch has felt soothing in and of itself. And so please feel free to incorporate this as you listen to guided meditations in your own meditation practice, in your mindfulness practice, or even in just your day. You can do it while conversating with people, while hanging out with people. It's a great tool, and it's not really all that, it doesn't look all that strange if that's something you're worried about. It's pretty low-key, thankfully. So, yeah, again, thanks for tuning in, and hope you enjoy havening.